Hello everyone, today I'll be demonstrating how you can set up the entity resolution project from scratch on a fresh machine. So let's first clone the GitHub repository, copy the code, and clone that in your preferred location. So I have cloned that in my documents. Let's open that up in VS Code. So I'm going to open up a new terminal here. And I'm just going to pull any new changes if they exist. So we're already up to date. So before we do anything else, we have to set up our environment files for the data pipeline, model pipeline, and the monitoring pipeline. So once we move into the data pipeline folder, let's create the environment files for the data pipeline. So let's copy the code. And paste that. Similarly, let's do the same for the model pipeline as well. So I've moved into the model pipeline. And now for the monitoring. So now that we have the environment file set up for all the three pipelines, let's move into the Terraform directory, and we would be doing a Terraform initialization. Followed by a Terraform apply. So this would create all the resources in our GCP project. The project ID has already been configured in the Terraform files as well. Now that Terraform has finished deploying all the resources, let's first set the project ID. The project ID has been set. I'm just going to verify that we are in fact in the correct project ID. So we are. Now I'm going to move to the root folder. So now we are ready to push the environment files to GCP's secret manager. So let's just copy the code and set up all the secret files. So we have three environment files for the data pipeline, model pipeline, and the monitoring pipeline. Once that's done, let's finally SSH into our VM. So I'm going to the compute engine. And as we can see, we have a production VM. So that's the one that was created by Terraform. Let's SSH into that. So now we are inside the virtual machine. I'm just going to check if the repository has been cloned, which is a script that has to run automatically. I'm just verifying if we have cloned the repo, which has been cloned. So let's cd into the repository. So now we're in the repository. So let's run the bash script, which should set up all our services. I'm just going to run the bash script with owner permissions, since we got a permission denied error previously. So now it's pulling all the secrets, and we have the URLs for all the different resources. This is going to take a couple of minutes. So the setup script has now completed running, and it has set up all the required Docker containers and started them for us. It has also downloaded all the requirements necessary for the project. So let's copy the IP address and open that up in a new tab. So the data DAG is available at 8080 IP, and we have logged in with our username and password, which is from the environment variables. So now let's go ahead and trigger it. So this is the data pipeline tag, and we can schedule it to be run. So as you can see, all the processes have started, and it's going to take a couple of minutes to finish running. So let's meet after that. The data pipeline has now completed running. And once the data pipeline finishes running, it triggers the model pipeline. The model pipeline runs in Vertex AI. So let's have a look at that. So if we look at the pipelines, the most recent model is now training. So it is under the process of training at the moment. Meanwhile, we can have a look at the model metrics in MLflow. So we will copy the same IP address, but change the port number to 5000. So we have entity resolution and deburter. So here you get an overview of the evaluation loss, accuracy, precision, all the hyperparameters, and the model metrics. Similarly, we can also look at the monitoring dashboard using Grafana. It's the same IP address again with 3000 as the port number. So we can go to dashboards and find entity resolution here. So currently there is no data available since the model is training, but once you finish training, you can see all the metrics in terms of data drift, model performance, and so on. So once the model finishes training, we would be able to find the endpoints at Vertex AI endpoint location. So I'll just search for endpoints at Vertex AI, and you will be able to find it here as ER model data endpoint. So this is the endpoint that is used by the inference pipeline, which we will have a look at in a minute. To access the inference pipeline, we will open the same IP address with the port number 8000 in a new tab. And this is how the front-end UI looks. So we have all the services that we offer, and the front-end inference pipeline accesses the endpoints for the model inference that we just spoke about. So for example, we can see some analytics on the number of clusters formed, the total records uh, segregated, and so on. So let's quickly just have a look at one of the examples. We can select a scenario. Let's say the date of birth is different between two people, but most of the other records are the same. So let's compare and do a pairwise matching. So here we have the results. So it says that it's 20% confidence that the two people are the same, which makes sense since there can be two people who have similar addresses and similar sounding names, but are born on different dates. So it's a 20% match. Similarly, we have batch inferencing, 360-degree customer analysis, KYC, and fraud detection. And also, once you do a batch inference, you can see the number of clusters that are formed and then do like a transitive graph-based system. So this is how the entity resolution system looks like. Thank you. All the steps that I mentioned are available in the README file in the GitHub repository. So it is quite easy to set up everything from scratch. Thank you.